to the channel. My name is Giselle and I'm a sonographer who lives out here in Las Vegas, and I love all things Disney. And today we are talking about probably one of the most requested things that I've been asked to talk about, which is things that I wish I knew before I became a sonographer. So with all that being said, we're gonna jump right into the video because I've got a lot to say. But don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more videos if you're new here, and thank you so much if you're returning to watch another video of mine. So with that being said, grab your snacks, grab your drinks, and let's get started. The first thing I want to say before I start going through my 5 different categories of things I want to tell you guys that I wish I knew, and you guys will probably find helpful going into the field, or for those of you who are like trying to figure out if you want to even do ultrasound in the first place. I went through a bachelor's program and I had absolutely done no research at all. I kind of just like fell into the ultrasound program. And with that being said, I have a ton of other videos that explain why or how I came into this profession in the first place. But I went in this with no research at all. I knew kind of nothing except for obviously the fact that ultrasound technologists scanned babies. And so this is all based on my own experience and things that I didn't know. So a lot of you guys are going to go through your own experience and go through your own kind of programs, and every program is different. Everyone's journey to sonography is different. So this is just a disclaimer to say that my experiences are different, and what has happened to me and what I've learned is going to be different than you and what you're going to learn, and everyone's school teaches different things. So these are just things that I kind of had to learn becoming a sonographer. So yeah, that's just before we start going into the topics. The first thing I want to talk about is that they kind of just throw you into the wolves. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain how they kind of just throw you into the wolves, but after you graduate, no one's holding your hand. No one's going to help you while you're scanning a patient, especially if you are a new grad who just got hired. They're expecting you to do your job, especially if you get hired somewhere where you didn't do your clinicals. You're gonna learn a lot, yes, and you're hopefully gonna be with some coworkers and people who are willing to teach you, but a majority of the time, you might just be thrown into the wolves. Now, my first job, I had a really great mentor. He was really great and he taught me a lot of things. And so I was so thankful for that. But then the second job, where it was a hospital setting, they actually just like kind of threw me in there. I got maybe like 1 or 2 days of training, and I just kind of was like, they're like, there you go figure it out for yourself kind of thing. So during that time, obviously as a new grad, you're very like scared and not confident. I was pretty confident in my scanning after 6 or 7 months because I did clinicals 5 days a week, many hours. I worked at a very busy hospital for clinicals, and I learned a lot. And I think my experience in clinicals helped me be able to be thrown into the wolves at that hospital. So that is something I don't want you guys to be surprised about. If you do get a new job and they kind of just throw you in there and they expect you to do what you're told, they probably will tell you one protocol and then you're supposed to go do it. I just hope that you get a place where they are lenient and they help you and they are able to answer your questions that you have, because I was at a place that didn't really help me, and a lot of the places around here are kind of like that, honestly. They kind of just throw you into the wolves and you just learn and you make mistakes as you go, but then you learn from those mistakes, and that's what makes you a stronger sonographer. And for that, I mean, I'm thankful for the mistakes I've been through and the radiologists who have gotten mad at me and the things that I've learned from different situations. So yeah, just know that, I mean, they're not kidding when you see those little memes that say like, fly little birdie, because half the time in ultrasound, your mentors, they're gonna just say like, go scan a patient, figure it out, and then you figure it out and you do that. I'm not saying it's gonna be like that for everyone, but just be prepared that you need to be confident in things that you do, and you might be thrown into the wolves one day. A perk about being thrown into the wolves is that you're gonna learn so much. You're gonna learn how to deal with angry patients, difficult not just in how to scan them and push through that bowel gas, or difficult patients like you have some really difficult patients who don't want to lay on their back for you, don't want to turn on their sides. they can't stop moving, L2K patients, which is like psychiatric patients. I mean, there's a lot of interesting patients you're gonna have to scan for certain reasons, and you're gonna learn how to do those things on your own. You can't just always turn to someone and ask someone a question. And the one thing I really like about my Discord group, which if you guys aren't in it already, is that we're here to help each other and foster a community to help you guys with your daily struggles. And when you're out there working as a sonographer, you might be the only sonographer there and you have no one there to ask when something or some situation happens. So I like our Discord where everyone comes in there and they ask each other like, hey, this is happening, what do I do? And I'm always a message away. You can ask me and we will help you get through those situations. But that's how you learn. You learn by asking others questions, and sometimes there's not going to be people around that you can ask questions. So definitely ask around, because a lot of us have experiences with dealing with difficult patients. And you got to remember that you're scanning these patients, you're very close to these patients. You are almost like a therapist to some of these patients. A lot of them will talk and spill out their guts and their life and everything like that. And you have to listen to them and be able to do your scan while you're also listening to them or talking to your patient and just making sure they're comfortable. So these are things that I want you to know and realize before you go into the field, because that can be kind of difficult and kind of shocking to some people. The second thing I want you guys to know about sonography, and what I wish I knew, was that there's a lot of inconsistencies. So some radiologists will want a certain protocol, and then a different radiologist will want a different protocol or a different image, or someone will say this or that. And then when you go to a different place, they're gonna say they want this, but you learn a certain way. And then some places are gonna require a certain way to Doppler, a certain way to do their paperwork, a certain way to grab the patient, and just all these things. Everywhere you go, it's going to be different. And the inconsistency lies within the system, I guess, because in ultrasound, there's so many different ways you can get into this field, and there's so many different ways that you can come to the same conclusion. So I can scan a patient a certain way, and then a sonographer can scan a certain way, a different sonographer, and we have to be able to come to the same conclusion. But also, I'll tell you, like, one radiologist will want this kind of picture, and one other radiologist will want you to do something else. And this goes to those hospitals that have a lot of doctors in it, really big hospitals. But if you work at an outpatient place, every sonographer was taught different things. So each sonographer was taught by someone different, and you kind of just pick up little things from every single person, because there's not one universal way to do things. And so that's why I just say it's kind of inconsistent, because let's say we all were taught how to do everything in one certain way. There's not one way. I mean, I can scan a baby's abdomen with a curved probe, but then I can also scan that baby's abdomen with a linear probe. And I was taught to scan baby heads with a baby head probe, and some places don't have a baby head probe and they have to use a linear probe, which you can do that too. So everything is like, you can do so many different things in so many different ways. You just gotta make sure that you get the right photos that your doctor wants and the right information for that patient, because at the end of the day, your job is to get the correct images, to write your paperwork, describe the things that you're finding, and ultimately get results for your patient. And you're gonna notice that there's gonna be a lot of inconsistencies everywhere. There's gonna be a lot of, this doctor said this sonographer said this. Just at the end of the day, do your job and make sure that you're doing what the right protocol is and what's required of you at your job, because everywhere you work, it's gonna be different. The next thing I want you guys to know is that there is a huge demand for ultrasound. Little do we know if there's going to be like technology in the future where we're kind of like obsolete, but right now, and I know for the foreseeable future, ultrasound is going to keep on growing, especially with all the technology that's coming, like the little handheld probes and whatnot. Doctors are ordering ultrasounds at an astronomical rate. We are super busy in our hospital that our ER is basically nonstop. I had no idea before becoming sonographer that you basically can get an ultrasound for anything any kind of pain, any issue, they might order an ultrasound. So you come in with shortness of breath, you're gonna get a leg ultrasound to check your veins to make sure you don't have a blood clot. If you have pain in your leg, another ultrasound in your leg because you want to check for blood clots and other tissue abnormalities. And then if you come in with stomach pain, you're gonna get an ultrasound. If you have dizzy spells, if you faint, fall, ultrasound. If you are pregnant, ultrasound, obviously, to check for baby. But if you are having vaginal bleeding, ultrasound. If you have ovarian cysts or pain in the lower quadrants, ultrasound. If you have arm pain, ultrasound. If you have a headache, they're gonna probably order an ultrasound. So just to let you know, ultrasound is very demanding, and the job is very much so, I think there's a big shortage, but also it's very hard to get a job right now, so it's kind of weird. But it's just so demanding that you are gonna be scanning for long periods of time. You're gonna have a lot of patients, and you might be scanning sitting down or standing up. Regardless of the way that you're scanning, you're gonna develop some kind of musculoskeletal injury in the future or pain. And I don't want to scare you guys with this one, but it's just something that you guys need to know. You need to know that there is this possibility you might hurt yourself with this career, and it's so physically demanding. I mean, you have to put your arm over pretty large patients. You have to kind of squish down on patients' legs. People don't know, for DVT studies, we have to push down on their legs because we're looking for the veins to collapse. And you're gonna have to scan patients and look for reflex studies, and they're gonna be standing, and you have to scan. Sometimes you scan on your knees, and then there are other times where you are scanning like an echo, and you're scanning with your left arm, and you're in an uncomfortable, abnormal position. And this is where those musculoskeletal injuries happen because people aren't careful, or they push their bodies too much. We are worked too hard or too much in our workplaces, and that is something that you just have to be aware of. I wish I knew that, but you know, at the end of the day, I love my job, and it's okay because I am focusing on what I need to do to make sure my body doesn't break down, or you know, I'm trying to keep healthy. I'm trying to make sure I'm watching myself the way I'm positioning my arm. If I'm sitting and it hurts, I'll stand. If I stand and it hurts, I'll sit. You just have to really listen to your body, adjust your body. And there are people in this field who've been doing this for 15, 20 years who don't have any injuries at all. But I do see a lot more people who are having injuries with less and less experience. But that's because we're either being pushed to work too much, and the burnout is real because they're ordering so many ultrasounds, and some people aren't listening to their bodies. I remember when I first was scanning, my hips were in so much pain. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing wrong? And then I fixed it, and now I don't have hip pain. But like my wrist sometimes, my wrist and my shoulder, that's like where I get the most pain nowadays. I have to really focus on my health and my well-being when it comes to scanning, because I love my job. I want to keep doing my job, so I have to take care of my body, and so do you. So keep that in mind if you're going into this field. Another thing is that a lot of times doctors don't realize that ultrasound isn't magic. Same with patients. They don't realize that ultrasound isn't magic. Half the time we are trying so hard as a sonographer to figure out what's wrong that it can be so hard and difficult for us to figure out what we're looking at. And so the physically taxing part is happening while the mentally taxing part is happening. So I'm trying really hard to get these images for this patient, but then a lot of times we can't get it, or it's so difficult, or there's a reason why we can't get it. And there are going to be doctors who are going to be like, hey, why didn't you see that left ovary? Or why couldn't you see the pancreas? And things like that. There are other modalities like CAT scans, MRIs, X-rays, and nuclear medicine, but they kind of depend on ultrasound as one of the first things they do because there's no radiation. So just know that they're going to order a ton of ultrasounds wherever you work. And doctors love ordering ultrasounds. It's pretty quick and a pretty easy thing for them to order. It just is a lot for us as a sonographer because we're the ones who are doing the entire exam. So physically, mentally, this whole thing, it can get really draining, but you will learn how to focus on balancing your work and your life balance, and also taking care of yourself. Self-care, everybody. You need to remember going into this field, it's going to be really difficult. You're going through a really difficult and hard program or school just to go into a field that's really hard and difficult already in itself. But just remember your why you're going into this field, and that it's ultimately worth getting into this field if you really enjoy this job, because the people who stay in this job for a long time are the people who really enjoy being a sonographer. The fourth thing I wish I knew is that you may have irregular schedules and you may have to take on-call shifts. So irregular schedules, I mean by you're not always going to have a 9-to-5 job. You're not always going to have weekends off if you work in a hospital setting. Now there's multiple settings you can work in: a hospital, an outpatient, clinics, doctor's offices. You can even own your own ultrasound business and create your own hours. But there's going to be irregular hours and irregular shifts and the dreaded call shift that a lot of hospitals have overnight. A lot of places will have on-call because apparently it's cheaper. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've asked so many people, like, why don't they just put in a sonographer for a graveyard shift at a lot of places? And they say it's actually cheaper for them to put someone on call than to have a graveyard shift. And so I guess, it's a business, so they gotta do what they gotta do. But then we are on the back end of that, where we have to wake up in the middle of the night on an on-call shift at whatever time in the day if they order an ultrasound. Usually they're stat ultrasounds, and usually they're supposed to be for some serious reason why they're waking you up in the middle of 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So you'll see a lot of memes or sonographers saying, oh my goodness, they woke me up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. to do pelvic ultrasound or pregnancy ultrasound, and the person just wanted to kind of see their gender or something like that. And we don't even gender in the hospital for most of the time. So that happens, but it shouldn't happen. But also, you never know when it comes to why doctors are ordering things and why patients say certain things to their doctors. And so just know that you are going to probably work either crazy shifts as per diems, different types of shifts, day shifts, night shifts, and on-call shifts. So I can do another video of on-call shifts. If you're interested, comment down below and I'll do a full video on how the on-call process works. The last thing I want to talk about, I know this is a lot and that's why I'm kind of talking really fast, because it's a lot of stuff I wish I knew and I want you guys to know about ultrasound, is that there is going to be a lot of different types of ultrasounds that you can perform, and you can specialize in all different types of ultrasounds. And the thing is, there are different pathways to learning ultrasound. You can go into the general pathway, which is abdomen, small parts, pelvis, OBGYN, breast, and then there's a vascular portion pathway where you can do vascular, which is veins, arteries, carotids, transcranial Dopplers, and other vasculature of the body. And then there's echo or cardiovascular, where it's mainly the heart and you're doing all scans of just the heart. And sometimes they teach you vascular in the echo programs. So a lot of times echo and vascular go together, and then general is just its own thing. Then there's other places where they teach general and vascular together. So you have general and vascular. That's what I did at my program. It was general and vascular. And then there's some that teach you all of them. I have seen a few students who are in programs that teach you everything, which is amazing. And if you're someone who wants to do that, that's absolutely amazing. But there's not a lot of places that are gonna hire a full body sonographer that does everything, general, vascular, and echo. Most of the time, you're gonna be doing echo, vascular, or you're gonna do general and do general, or do specialty, which is like OBGYN. So if you want to go into OBGYN, you need to go towards a general route, and you still have to learn abdomen and all that stuff to become an OBGYN sonographer. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of different types of ultrasounds and things that I didn't even know you could ultrasound, like testicles. And so you're gonna learn all these different things. Now, on top of knowing that there's a bunch of different ultrasounds you can scan, I didn't know you had to take all these registries. Yeah, in order to become registered and become a registered diagnostic medical sonographer, you need to take the ARDMS board exams here in the United States at least. And you need to take an SPI, which is a physics test, just to take the specialty board exams. So you're going to take SPI and then your specialty board exams. And you don't just take one specialty board exam, you can take multiple board exams. And so if you're looking to just take the OBGYN route, all you have to do is take SPI and OBGYN. But if you're planning on doing other things like general, you'll have to do SPI and then the abdomen exam. But then there's also the breast exam. There's also a vascular exam if you're going the vascular route, the echo exam if you're going the echo route. And there's just a ton of different little subspecialty certificates and certifications you need to do and take to become a sonographer. And yes, there's a lot more than people think. You don't just graduate and become a sonographer right away. You have to take these board exams and get registered, and then you can finally be a registered diagnostic medical sonographer or a registered diagnostic cardiac sonographer. And that seems like a lot, but it's worth it. But at the same time, it's really expensive to take these exams. And I'm telling you, you're dropping like $200, $250 per exam, and it's a lot of money. And for the amount of schooling we have to go through, the amount of hard work sonographers go through, I believe we deserve more pay. Right now, sonographers, we get paid pretty well, but I think that we deserve more than what they're paying because of all the registries and certificates and the schooling and all of the knowledge that we have. We know a lot more things than people think we know. And I had no idea I was about to learn all this stuff when I went into sonography. I did not know I was going to know basically everything about the human body. And I know a lot when it comes to neuro, the brain, pediatrics. I know a lot of different things with the legs, the arms, the heart, things I never knew I could know, and I know a lot of it, and I owe it all to school, and I owe it all to my clinicals, and I owe it all to all my mentors and everyone on Instagram who are teaching each other about this field. And with that being said, we deserve so much more recognition than I think people deserve. And when they look at sonographers, they look at easy job, chillax job, and what makes it so hard for us is that we know how much work it takes to just do that one exam. I know we're doing that exam pretty quickly. I'm doing an abdomen exam pretty quickly, but it's because of all the experience and everything I've learned to get me to this point. And it's a lot, and I want you guys to know that you are important. You deserve so much. So please, before you go into this field, know that you're going to know a lot, you're going to see a lot, and you deserve a lot. So don't accept a pay that's really, really low. Okay, and I would say a lot of the times people say you should accept about 25 or more, 25, 30. I think you should accept 35, honestly, 40. Come on now. Like, this field is pretty much in demand, and they're looking for people to work. And so I think you deserve a lot, and I wish I had known that a long time ago, because when I worked at another place, it was barely paying me anything, and I was just like, whoa, for everything that I just went through, I'm pretty sure I feel like I deserve more than that. Even with getting a registry, you should be able to get a raise with the registry under your belt. And so just fight for yourself and for everything that you eventually will offer to these patients, to the company, and things like that. Oh man, that was a rant. But at the end of the day, I want you guys to know I love my job. I love helping you guys out. I love talking about ultrasound and being there to support you guys through this process and through this life, because it is better to do things with a community and not alone. And this community was not even a thing when I was in school. So thank you to everyone who's part of this, watching my videos. Shout out to everyone who started the ultrasound community. Christy, you know it. You guys know her, Chrissy. She did the whole thing. And I just want you guys to know that we are here to help you guys and get through this. Even though I went through it, didn't know a lot of things, I still made it through. You guys are doing your research, and you guys are gonna have the chance and opportunity to be really, really great and amazing sonographers who will take great care of your patients, take great care of yourselves so you can take great care of your patients, as well as just live a better life as a sonographer, especially because we all know how burnt out everyone is right now, and the whole situation the world is in. Everyone's having a hard, tough time working, I want you guys to know what you're getting into and what you're about to go through. So please comment down below if you have any other questions. I was hoping not to make this video very long, and it probably is very long because you guys know I can talk all day about ultrasound. But with that being said, if I miss anything, don't forget to comment down below so I can help you get through this process and to help you start your journey to become a sonographer. And you guys better know that I'm on Instagram, and I just joined TikTok, which is interesting. I'm not so good at the TikTok thing, but if you want to follow me there, go ahead, and you'll most likely see me on YouTube and Instagram. But I'm just enjoying life and doing the things I love and living it and doing it with you guys. So I appreciate you guys so much. I want you guys to please be kind to one another, stay safe out there, stay positive, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!